Hey everybody, in today's video I'm going to let you watch along as I install the all-new ONNAIS RV door lock. This is the latest model, the W007B as in Bravo. Well, let's go ahead and start by getting the old lock set off the RV. This is probably the most common lock set that comes on RVs nowadays. I actually had an ONNAIS lock on here, the previous version before, but I put this old lock back on just to show you most of us are going to be starting with this exact lock set right here. Again, all we're going to be doing is using a Phillips screwdriver. I'm going to go in reverse and take these latch plate screws out. Then we've got 4 more Phillips head screws on the actual handle set here. Then once those 4 screws are removed, we're going to take the inside portion of the handle set off. And then for the rest of the body, it's just going to kind of slide out of there. You can see just as a one piece. Now with the old handle set removed, let me give you some dimensions real quickly. I believe that most manufacturers cut this hole out with a jig or a CNC, so it should be pretty standard. So most of the time these doors are just filled with foam, and so if you needed to trim your opening, if it was a little bit small for some reason, typically you can do that with a little Dremel tool. You know, no harm done because it's just foam around this opening portion here. All right, so with that, let's begin the install on the new lock. And the first thing we're gonna do is separate the outside from the inside portion here. We're gonna use the supplied Allen key here and loosen up all those screws so we can separate it. Once the screws are loosened up, I'm gonna very carefully take it apart because there's a ribbon cable inside here that I don't wanna damage. And I'm going to pinch and squeeze on the right side here, the part that connects to the inside, to separate those two. Next, I've got to take the outside half of the handle set and insert it into my RV door. And I kind of have to go at an angle to make sure that the latch and the deadbolt end up lined up with this hole right here. So I'm going to very carefully go in an angle. I'm also holding the ribbon cable here to make sure it doesn't get pinched, that it goes through the hole. So you can kind of see what that angle looks like. It's probably about a 30-degree angle. And then it's going to be a snug fit right here to get the rest of the lock in. So you might have to trim your door just depending on how much clearance they left. Next, I'm going to take the inside half and basically marry it together, make a sandwich more or less. First, I'm going to take that ribbon cable and carefully connect it to the outer portion. And you'll hear a click, and that way you know that it's secure. And then I'm going to put the actual connector, there's a little cutout inside the door right here, and that's where I'm going to place that connector. And then you want to make sure that your deadbolt selector right here is on the unlock position to match what the deadbolt is over here. And then basically you just carefully line up your holes and get everything nice and secure. And so there we go. Everything's nice and married together. And then I'm just going to carefully take one screw, one of the screws with the Allen heads on it, and just get it threaded to hold everything together while I get the rest of the screws then. And then we're basically just going to repeat 3 more times with the remaining screws here. All right, so all 4 screws are in the lock, holding the inside and outside together. One tip I'll give you is don't tighten those all the way down, just snug them up, because we want to make sure that the lock set is square in our door opening. If it's not, it might impede the deadbolt, or it might be kind of hard to open the latch. And so kind of leave everything a little bit loose initially. Next, I'm going to take this latch plate right here, and I'm going to install it on the outside edge of the door here with these supplied Phillips head screws. And I want to be very careful not to cross thread the screws, and that's why I'm doing this by hand as opposed to a powered screwdriver. And again, I'm not tightening these all the way. I'm just getting them mostly snugged up because I want to make sure everything's nice and square in the door. You can see on the outside here, you can pretty much just visually look at this gap right here, and you can see how I've got some play. I can flex it back and forth. So I want to make it nice and square right there. And then I also want to test the deadbolt operation and make sure it's not impeded by anything right here, that it's real easy to open. Everything looks really good right there. I'm going to double check it one more time, make sure it's nice and square. And then I'm going to snug up these first on the outside. I would just do these by hand because I want to get a good sense for how tight they are, and I don't want them, you know, over torqued. And now that I'm happy with everything being nice and square, I'm going to go ahead and tighten down the 4 Allen head screws right here. Again, you don't want to make them too tight. Really, you just want to compress the gaskets on both sides, and so I'm going to kind of evenly tighten them up to get a good sense for when that gasket is compressed properly. Everything moves freely both on the outside and the inside there. That's what I'm looking for. And then next I'm going to go ahead and install the batteries so that I can get everything programmed and set up here. They give you that small screwdriver to get this panel open right here. So that's something that you can keep with you in the RV in case you need to replace the batteries in the future. And then it's just 4 AA batteries. I like to use the lithium ones because the RV might get exposed to freezing temperatures, and so these will hold up better compared to just the regular alkaline batteries. And I'll put a link, by the way, to these in the description below. You can order them online, get them shipped to you easily. Okay, so batteries are all in. Let's go ahead and test the electronics. The ONNAIS button on the outside is going to lock the deadbolt there. That works great. And then the default code is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you hit the checkbox. And there it goes. So everything's moving nice and smoothly. I don't hear anything rubbing or grinding against one another. So everything's all nice and square. Then last step of the install is going to be the striker plate that goes on your actual RV door frame. ONNAIS gives you one right here, but you can see it's identical to the existing one that came with my RV from the factory. So I'm actually going to leave this on here. But if you don't have one that already has that exact same opening, you may need to use the supplied one from ONNAIS. And we want to make sure that this striker plate is adjusted right so that when we close the door, it's a nice tight seal. You can see without too much force, I was able to push on it and it latches securely. Sometimes you have to adjust that striker plate because, you know, from the factory, maybe they didn't quite get it right. Maybe things expanded and contracted. So bottom line, just make sure that everything lines up and that you got a nice closure just like I have here. Okay, let me walk you through how to program the lock set and also to program your key fobs to the lock. First thing you want to do is make sure the lock is fully reset. And so you just push the reset button inside here 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And then you're going to hear the lock beep on the outside, signaling that it's all reset back to the factory settings. Next, we want to change the default passcode, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You definitely want to change that. And so in order to do that, we're going to make sure it's locked first. I hit the ONNAIS button, the deadbolt's out there. I'm going to enter the default code, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, checkbox. And then we're going to go inside here and hit the set button. And then come back out here and enter the new code. You'll notice that it's blinking blue right here. So I'm going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then check. And then you're going to enter it one more time. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, check. And then next I'll test it with the new code. I'll hit the ONNAIS button to lock it again. And then I'm going to go here and hit 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, check. And there we go. By the way, you can enter a code 5 to 15 digits long, so pretty impressive security there. Okay, now how about the key fobs? They give you 2 of these with the lock set. They have batteries in them already, but they're not programmed. And so let's go ahead and get these paired with the lock set. First thing we're going to do is make sure the deadbolt is out. We're going to enter our code, which I changed to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hit the checkbox. We're going to go on the inside and hit the set button 3 times. So 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to press any button on the key fob. And then you can see it registered the key fob there. So this one's good to go. And then we're going to do another one right here. And now that one's good to go as well. Then once that times out after about 30 seconds, we'll go ahead and test it and see. So it's unlocked right now. Do the first key fob. There it goes. Lock is good. Unlock. And then we'll do the other one. Lock and unlock. So everything's all set up now. Well, all right, I think that just about covers all the install and programming detail. Thanks for watching.